Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Marketing, where I talk with industry leaders about marketing mindset and business growth. This episode is brought to you by my own company, Foster Web Marketing. Foster Web Marketing is dedicated to providing cutting-edge, highly customizable websites, marketing, video, and strategic solutions specifically designed for law firms, medical practices, and other professional service businesses. Our award-winning web technology and marketing systems sets us apart from everyone else. Please visit our website at fosterwebmarketing.com if you want to know more about us. But this podcast is about my new friend, Mike Caldwell. Mike is the marketing medic, an author and marketing expert who specializes in blending marketing and empathy to build powerful customer connections. Mike holds a degree in biology and management and has a paramedic firefighting background as well. And I just heard a story about him that he will share with you guys. In 2001, Mike experienced a life-changing event that caused him to reevaluate his priorities and become the marketing medic he is today. Well, I want to hear about that one, Mike. All right, buddy.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Tom. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, man. So it's great to meet you.
Likewise.
So tell me a little bit of what does this mean, this marketing and empathy? How do you mean that?
Empathy is really just a fancy word for understanding. That's all it really means, right? And so the heart of empathic marketing is really taking the time to understand your audience. And there's two levels that I look at. First, I look at having an experiential understanding and an emotional understanding. And so the experiential understanding, first, that starts with, I don't know if you're familiar with Eugene Schwartz and breakthrough advertising, but he talked about your audience's level of awareness when it comes to their problems. So people are either like unaware that they even have a problem, or they're hyper aware of their problem. They know exactly who's going to provide that solution for them. And then there's all different levels along that spectrum, right? And so, like, let's use the weight loss industry as an example. Don't want to be too harsh on Virginia, but when you go to Virginia, you go to the
that's where I'm from. That's where I live. I live in Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay, so when you go to the buffet, the size of the people that are walking through the door, right? There's some bigger people there.
Well,
right?
I don't go to those places, but
you know what?
But I've been. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. And so if you were to ask one of those people, "Hey, do you have a problem with your weight?" What would they say?
They might be offended.
They might be offended, but they'd say, "No, I don't have a problem," because they're that size. Their siblings are that size. Their mom and dad are that size. All their friends are that size. That's just the way life is, right? So they don't know they even have a problem because that's just normal for them. And I'm not being judgmental. That's just the reality, right?
Right.
And so I can't go up to them and offer them like 50% off on the most cutting edge, keto diet in the world, right? Because they're like, what? Why do I need a keto diet? I don't even know what you're talking about. So if I wanted to target Virginia overweight people as an audience, I would have to start by saying, hey, listen, I know you're 300 pounds and your mom's 300 pounds, your dad's 300 pounds, your baby's 300 pounds, but this is what can happen. High blood pressure, diabetes, early death, all that stuff. You have to educate them. And that might be a bad example because they do know, but you know where I'm coming from. You have to educate them to the problem before you can offer the solution. And then at the other end of the spectrum, like let's go to California and let's go to, somebody on the coast there. They know exactly who they want Tony Horton. Nobody else in the world can help them but Tony Horton. So all they're looking for is like the next time Tony Horton has a sale on one of his fitness programs or, one of his, diet supplements, because he's the only guy and they're not going to buy from anybody else. So for Tony to advertise, all he has to do is say, hey, this really cool 12-week fitness regime I have, I'm offering it July 4th special for, 30% off. Who wants it? And he doesn't have to explain what the program is or anything about it, but because Tony and that's the only guy you go to, you're going to buy it, right?
That's not empathy.
That is empathy. So you have to understand where your audience is.
Well, isn't that more branding? That's branding. That's
so I'm talking about Tony, right? But as a business owner, you have to understand who your audience is.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to understand, is your audience on the unaware end of the spectrum, or are they at the completely aware, or are they somewhere in the middle? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so along the middle, so there are, let's just stick with overweight. So there are the people who are problem aware. And they're like, okay, I've talked to my doctor. He says I've got, 3 years to live. I keep doing this. I need to make a change. So they know they need to make a change, but they don't know what to do. Right. So should they diet? Should they exercise? If they are going to diet, what types of diet should they look at? If they are going to exercise, what sort of exercising should they do? So if at the problem aware, you have to start educating them to what, like if I'm selling a keto diet, I have to let them know why intermittent fasting is stupid, right? So, to get them so that they're aware of the solution. You following me?
I'm trying to.
I'm sorry. There's the 5 levels of awareness. So you're either completely unaware you've got a problem, or you know you have a problem, or you're solution aware. So at the solution aware stage, it's like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to go with intermittent fasting. I know like keto's not right for me. I know Jenny Craig's not right for me. And then you've got the most aware audience of, like say that's the most aware audience right now. And we're getting off weight loss is like Apple, right? Like people who buy Apple, that's the only product they want. And so Apple doesn't need to tell their audience what the new updates are. They just have to say, we've got the new R2D2 phone coming out and people are going to line up to buy it, because this goes back to the branding and stuff. But they're so aware of what Apple brings to the table that Apple doesn't need to educate a portion of its audience to make sales.
So tell me about your story. Tell me about what is your life-changing event that happened.
All right, cool. So I was a paramedic. I was working on the helicopter here in Ottawa. And as most firefighters and most paramedics, we work 12-hour shifts. So we have a lot of days off. So we all have a side hustle. So I also have a master's degree in management.
Thank you for doing that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for doing that, man. Thank you for saving people's lives.
It was kind of cool. It was fun to do. Yeah. Like people have thanked me for my service. And I think that should be reserved for the military, for the people that are putting their lives at risk. Like for me to fly around on a helicopter and pretend to be a superhero, like I would have done that for free, because it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway, so that was my primary job. I was working as a paramedic, and then as a side hustle, I was incorporating what I learned in my master's degree in management, and I was doing corporate experiential education. So I was doing team building stuff, and I had 50 acres of land in my cottage, and we had a rappelling cliff there, and that was part of the activity.
Wow, cool.
And so I was actually, this was a different client. He just wanted to learn how to rappel, and he was coming up for the day, but we had so much to cover. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the cliff in advance, and I'm going to set up the ropes before he gets there, because if I wait until he gets there, then I have to do all this silly like safety stuff, in front of him, because I don't want to do anything unsafe in front of the client. So I went up before he got there, and I didn't mess around with any of that silly safety stuff. And my foot got caught between 2 rocks. I started to dive head first off the cliff. And the last second, I just jumped off the cliff. So that allowed me to land on my feet. And it was 35 feet. And I broke my arm, my leg, and my back. So,
oh my God.
I was alone with me and my 2 dogs. So one of my dogs came down from the top, and he woke me up. And then we hiked out. And then it was only a half mile to get to the cottage. And then my girlfriend.
How did you walk out with a broken back?
With a limp. I had a pretty significant limp going on. But anyway, I was able to make it out. It was just a fracture of L4, so it wasn't like out of place or anything. It was just the bone was broke, but everything, my spine was intact. But yeah, so then I got to the deck of my cottage, like, help. My girlfriend at the time, she's my wife now, and her sister were there, like, shut up, we're sleeping. Anyway, they came down, they saw how pale I was, they called an ambulance, and anyway, I wasn't able to work as a paramedic for a few months.
So you jumped, like you fell 35 feet?
Yeah.
And landed on your feet?
Yeah.
And then like you passed out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I had a concussion too. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I would have too.
Yeah.
And it's so funny the way you set it
day.
up. Like, like I'm not going to worry about the safety of this, blah, 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 blah. No worries about safety.
I've done it so many times. I've done it so many times. I never fallen off before.
It's ironic.
Yeah.
So that is a wake-up call there.
Yeah. And so not only was I the paramedic at the helicopter base, but I was the base supervisor. And so I had...
Oh, wow.
So I had all these... I love flying around and saving lives. It was really cool. Like the medicine that we were doing was really cool.
How long did you do it for?
I was a paramedic for 12 years and I was on the helicopter for 3.
Wow.
So
that's a long time.
Yeah. So anyway, as much as I liked saving the lives, 2 things I didn't like. I didn't like the management stuff just because of all the politics that I was dealing with from the hospitals and the base hospital. And it was just a nightmare. And then I'm terrible at night shifts. I'm not a night person. So after 11 p.m., my body just starts to hurt. And so for those 2 reasons, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to not go back to being a paramedic, and I'm going to make my side hustle my full-time job. And so I was doing the corporate team building stuff. And this was in the late 90s, in Ottawa, where I lived, is known as Silicon Valley North. There's always high-tech businesses here, and they were doing team building like crazy. And there's just so much opportunity for me. But in the early 2000s, that's when the tech dove. Like we had Nortel Telecommunications here, and they employed like a third of Ottawa. And like they seriously employed like a third of Ottawa. And then within 2 years, they were out of business. They were gone. And they were going to be my biggest customer.
Right.
Anyway, so I had to pivot.
I remember them.
Yeah, I had to pivot. And So I sold my house. I sold my cottage to buy where I am now. It's a 6,000 square foot abandoned sawmill, 160 acres. And I was going to do all my team building.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just pretty cool.
How cool is that? I'm in this little teeny townhouse here. You're on 160 acres?
Yeah.
Wow. That's mind blown.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Cool. I hope none of it was affected by any of the fires.
No, we've had bad air quality here for the last little while, but no, we're not.
Okay, good.
That's
good. That's good.
But anyway, I just used that time off to like reevaluate what was important in my life. And as much as I enjoyed the adrenaline and like the saving lives and stuff, I'm entrepreneur at heart. I don't like following directions or being told what to do. And so I decided to be an entrepreneur.
It's a curse.
It is. And are you familiar with Russell Brunson?
Of course I am.
Yeah. And so
I met Russell.
When Russell was ClickFunnels was about a year old, I think, when I went on the marketer's cruise. And I knew he was on a cruise. I was trying to figure out a way to meet him, and I didn't know how to like, hi. Anyway, but we were on the beach at Cozumel, and I was bored. And there was this bouncy castle play structure out floating in the water. I'm like, I'm going to go play on that. I tell my wife, I'm going to go play on that. So I swim out there, and there's like 3 guys just floating around outside of the castle. And I start bouncing the castle, and the lifeguard kicks me off. He says, you got to have a life jacket. I'm like, oh, man. So I jump off and I go over and I'm chatting with the 3 guys. And those 3 guys were Russell Brunson and the 2 other ClickFunnels founders.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I said, you guys want to play in the bouncy castle with me? They're like, yeah.
Opportunity knocks.
Yeah. I'll swim back to the beach because I'm an Ironman triathlete. So I'll swim back to the beach and I'll get the life jackets, and then we can all play in the bouncy castle together. So we played in the bouncy castle together. We made an obstacle course. And yeah, Russell and I became friends. I joined his inner circle. He taught me everything he knows about marketing. And then I made what he does way better. And that's how I got to where I am today.
So what is it that you do exactly?
Well, he taught me to build funnels, right? And his whole thing was about funnel hacking. And that's, so you want to find what you think is working and model that, but that doesn't generally work most of the time. And the reason that doesn't work is because who you are is different, what you're offering is different, your audience is different, and even where they live is different. And so like one of the best examples I have is I couldn't hack my own funnel. So I was hired to go out to California. There's a boot camp gym. They were circling the drain. Like it was 2 brothers. They were paying for the gym. They were keeping the gym afloat with their day jobs. And I went out there to save the gym. Anyway, they were doing everything that the other gyms out there were doing. So they were targeting the Beachbody ads, right? All these super fit 20-something-year-olds with the six-pack abs, like men and women. And that's what Orange Theory was doing. That was LA Fitness was doing. And they're trying to do the same thing. But when I went into the gym, I didn't find any of those 20-something Beachbodies in there. I found like these middle-aged Hispanic women. That's who the gym was catering to. So why were they advertising, trying to get, you know, these 20-something Beachbods who wanted to go to LA Fitness? They didn't want to go to this little rinky-dink hole-in-the-wall gym, right? So once I took the time to understand their audience, and I found this amazing woman, Kristen, who was significantly overweight, but she'd already lost 80 pounds. But the video I shot of her was so emotionally charged because she explained how, like, she was trying to lose the weight. Her family was like, this was going back to the problem awareness thing, right? Her family was like, yeah, you go lose weight. We'll see you back at, you know, Pizza Hut in a couple of weeks because this is a fad. You know, you're not going to stick with it. But when she went to the gym, there was all these like-minded people there that really supported her and became her new family. And so when I got her on video sharing that story and actually breaking down and crying because like just the love that she was feeling from the gym, and I posted that video, we were able to get a 36-to-1 return on ad spend. And within the year, both those brothers who were funding the gym with their day jobs quit their day jobs and could work the gym full time. So I've got the magic secret, right, for building boot camp gyms. So then I was hired to do work for another gym in Chicago.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was hired to do another gym in Chicago. I'm like, I'm a god at this. You just sit back and watch the magic. And I tried to run the same campaign. This was in the Central Business District of Chicago. We got 0 signups, like nothing, not even a sniff.
Well, that's marketing.
Yeah, because I just tried to hack.
That's marketing. That's how it works. You know, it doesn't necessarily work in the same. Anyway,
that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. You can't necessarily hack a funnel because I didn't take the time to understand my audience. So the audience in California was like middle-aged Hispanic women where money was really important. Like that was their primary thing. So if we get them in the gym for 3 weeks on a $47 offer.
Yeah, you didn't find their empathy, right?
Right. Yeah. And so that's what they wanted in California. They wanted a cheap opportunity to join this gym for 3 weeks. Then once they're in the gym, then they would buy the $600 6-month package because they're in, right? But you think the business guys in the heart of Chicago cared about money? Like money wasn't the currency that they valued. It was time. And so once I got into the mindset of that audience where I said, okay, so we got to start offering like morning programs as they go into the gym or as they go into work, lunch programs and after, you know, the super quick thing. And we need to charge a lot for them because these guys want to pay a lot because they want the status of being able to do so. Yeah. And then we were able to rock that. But like I said, I couldn't hack my own funnel. I had to start from scratch to make it work with a new audience, even though the gym was very similar.
So you met Russell Brunson. Is he one of your mentors? Who are some of your mentors?
He was like, I started with him and he taught me, like I say, he got me into the world. But the things I don't believe in funnel hacking at all. And I had the same experience with a real estate company. I was getting leads for realtors in Florida, absolutely crushing it in Florida. I tried the same offer in California, didn't work at all. And so like funnel hacking, I'm not a fan of funnel hacking. So that's when I changed mentors, and I went to Todd Brown. Not a lot of people have heard of Todd, but Todd is the guy Russell goes to when Russell needs help. And so I'm like, I'm just going to go to that guy. And he's the guy who taught me all about breakthrough advertising and Eugene Schwartz and Claude Hopkins and like all the grades of direct response marketing. And then I compiled all that into what I call empathic marketing.
Very good. Yeah. And so what do you do empathic? And is that what it's called? Empathic marketing?
Yeah. Like I say, empathic marketing is just a word. It's just what I called it. And so that's my big differentiator. And so it kind of makes me stand out, especially because people are big on empathy today. They know the importance.
Is that the name of the brand? Your brand?
My brand is the Marketing Medic.
Marketing Medic.
Big differentiator, what differentiates me from other marketers is I practice empathic marketing, and I even have the trademark for empathic marketing.
Very good.
Yeah.
So what are some of the daily rituals that keep you going? You're on that 165 acres.
64.
Oh, sorry. I gave you an acre. 164 acres. What do you do on it? Like, what do you do there? I mean, like, what do you do for groceries, man?
We kill them.
Right?
No, I'm not a big killer.
You're out there, you know.
Yeah, I don't like killing things, but yeah, no, we buy half a cow every year from the neighbor. We have we have our own greenhouse. We grow a lot of our own stuff here. But
grow your own stuff there? That's so cool.
Yeah. We're off the grid. We're completely off the grid. So we make our own power.
That's what you said, how to living off the grid. Like, tell me about that. Like,
yeah. Well, let's start with the morning routine.
Yeah.
And so I get up about 6:30 every morning, and then I hit the gym. I've got a little home gym here, and I do resistance training, weight training, because us old guys, that's like the most important thing for longevity is to get the muscles working. So I spend 25, 30 minutes doing Basement Beast, this online program. And then me and, you can't see him, but I've got an Australian Shepherd Collie here. Then we go for a 30-minute trail run. And then come home, have a shower, have my protein shake, and get to work at the computer until mid-afternoon. And then I'll go out and do some chores around here because we got 3 horses and 2 pygmy goats as well. So I'll do whatever needs to be done with that. And then we do an afternoon walk with the dogs. And then my wife and I do something fun in the evening. That's a daily routine.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I like that.
Oh, and so you asked one off the grid. And this is a question I kind of like feed some of the podcast hosts is like, how has living off the grid helped with marketing? And the thing about living off the grid is, especially because I've been doing it for 22 years, not many people have done it before me. It's hard to, like, there's not a lot of experts. And so when I experience a problem, when I go to find some help, people are like, oh, you can't do that. Like, it's just, I've never heard of that before. It can't be done. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I feel like there is a solution. And so living off the grid has taught me, like, just because you don't get the answer the first time, ask a second, third, fourth, 10th time, and just, learn every time, and then finally find the solution. And I did that just 2 days ago. So we live off the grid, and so it's hard to run a swimming pool because the pump has to be running all the time. It takes electricity. Anyway, so I've just got a little above ground pool so I can stay cool, and we got a new filter, and I went to connect the new filter to the pool, and the guy at the pool shop's like, oh no, that you've got one of those Costco pools, and that fitting isn't standard, and so you can't connect that filter to the pool. You just can't. Like, that doesn't make sense. And so I went to the Home Depot, and I just started putting parts together, and I figured it out. And now I've got the pump running with this pool. And he said it wasn't possible. And as a marketer, like, so often things don't work the first time, and you can't just like, oh, it didn't work, and throw your hands up in the air. You have to stick with it and try again, because I tell the story of, of going to California and knocking it out of the park in my first at bat. I got lucky, man. Well, luck, what's luck? Something, experience meets opportunity, something like along those lines. So I knew what I was doing, but yeah, it's hard to hit a home run at your first at bat. It really is. I don't care who you are.
Well, you're a very driven individual. It's really cool to meet you, man. You've done a lot of cool things.
Yeah, I think so. Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, and like where you've ended up, like your life where you are now. Very cool what you've done with your life. How old are you?
54.
I'm 56.
There you go.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah, I was at a mastermind in Tampa a couple of weeks ago with some big shooters, like multimillionaires, and I wouldn't trade. I do well financially, but I wouldn't trade. I'm no millionaire, and I wouldn't trade with any of those guys.
Right.
They don't have the morning runs and the afternoon hikes, and yeah.
I'm with you. You got it. I mean, like, I think any guy would say that's pretty cool what you got going on there.
Yeah, and so just another hack for this is what I do for Facebook ads. Like for my Facebook ads, Like most people when they're running Facebook ads, they'll target an audience. So I'm a marketer, right? And so I'm going to target people who follow Russell Brunson and who follow Ty Lopez. But I don't know if you're familiar with Facebook ads, but you can layer the ads, right? And so just because somebody is following Russell or Ty, a lot of those people, they really care about Ferraris and penthouses and Porsches and Grant Cardone's jets, right? They're not going to dig my vibe at all. And so I always layer my Facebook ads, and this is what I do, but everybody can do this. So first you want to have your top layer of ads for who you're targeting, and then your second layer of ads for who you are. So if I was targeting people for my marketing service, I say like Russell Brunson and Todd, and not Todd, he's not available, but Grant Cardone and Frank Kern, right? But also like horses and dogs and off the grid living. Because the people who are vibing with Ty and his, his garage full of, Ferraris and books and bikinis, they're going to say, who's this hillbilly, with his horses and his goats? And so I can target an audience that's going to be looking for what I have to offer, but they're also looking for somebody like me to provide it. And I think pretty much anybody can do that. And so, if Ty was doing advertising, he'd do it the exact same opposite way, right? He'd target Frank Kern and Russell Brunson and people who like Rolexes and Ferraris and Lamborghinis, right? And that way he wouldn't be targeting us hillbillies.
So how does somebody work with you, the marketing medic?
Well, there's a couple things. But the easiest, quickest way is just to go to www.themarketingmedic.ca because I'm in Canada. And I've got two offers happening there. One is I've got my free plus shipping book offer. So you can get a copy of my book for free, and I'll just have to pay for the shipping. But if you want results starting today, then I've got this really cool 47-minute, I call them the funnel fix call, where I'll look at your funnel. I can build your strategy within 30 minutes. And so here's something else for your audience to do is look at your guarantee. You should be offering a guarantee that nobody else is offering and your competition thinks you're crazy for doing. So with my guarantee, I say, if you don't get value out of that 30 minutes together, I'm not going to give you your money back. I'm going to give you twice your money back. Okay. So you're going to double your money if I can't help you. But a lot of people aren't going to sign up for one of these calls because nowadays people just know that these strategy calls, what are they? It's just a sales pitch, right? I'm going to get you on the phone. I'm going to try to sell you on my high ticket coaching or my high ticket done for you services. And you don't want that, right? So if at any time during those 30 minutes, I try to sell you on anything, doesn't matter if my coaching, my done for you services, my Girl Guide cookies, doesn't matter. I owe you twice what you paid for the call. So again, that's what I offer. But for your listeners who have a business, try to offer a guarantee that is going to remove any of their false limiting beliefs. So one, this call isn't going to help me. Well, if I don't help you, I owe you twice. And this is just a sales pitch. Well, if it is a sales pitch, I owe you twice. So, and again, some of my competitors are like, well, how can you do that? Like, well, one, I don't make a pitch in the 30 minutes and I always help somebody. So I don't have to worry about the refund.
Wow. Well, that's good advice, man. It's good stuff.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you for being on The World of Marketing.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. You've done it all.
I haven't done it all, but I've done my best. Done my best of what I have.
Well, you're a good guy. The Marketing Medic, everybody. Marketingmedic.ca. He's up in Quebec on his 164 acres.
That's it. Yes.
Wow.
And living off the grid. 5 dogs and 3 horses and 2 goats.
That's great, man. That's great living. Doing marketing. I'm going to talk to him myself after this call about maybe helping us out. We'll see.
I actually have an idea for you.
All right. I want to hear it, but I'm not going to let everybody else listen to it. All right.
Good.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon on The World of Marketing. Tom Foster and Mike Caldwell. Take it easy.